All right, here's another video in my series of videos of looking at stocks that I may want to add to my ticker list of stocks I potentially will trade options on. When I say options, I talking cash secured puts and cover calls. So as you saw from the website, I'm looking at Big Bear Holdings, and what I intend to do is doing a quick watch list review of stocks and ETFs that I'm watching for my potential option trading and trying to decide if it should be on my list or not. So there are stocks, ETFs on my list that I probably don't intend on trading, but I still like to watch them because other people I know are trading them, and I just kind of want to keep an eye on them, but they're not really on my trading list. And everything I talk about is not trade alerts, basically just adding stocks to my list of things I want to watch. This is something that you might be interested in. You might want to subscribe. So I plan on doing initially about 20 stocks, and I've gotten a couple recommendations of a couple that I may add. So if there's a stock that you are interested in, or maybe a stock that I might be interested in, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll take a look at it. So basically I'm doing a real high level look. I'm not digging real deep into the financial things of each of these companies. I'm kind of just taking a high level look in these videos. That doesn't mean that I don't take a deeper look off camera, because before I invest in a company and take a chance of getting assigned shares, if I do a cash card put, I want to know what that company is kind of about, what its potential is, where it's been, where it's going, some different things like that. So basically in these videos, I'm looking at three things here. Step one, business stability. Does it have real revenue? Does it have improving earnings? Is it an established company? And this one here is important. Am I okay owning the shares? So if I get assigned with a cover call, am I going to be losing sleep over it because I don't want to own those shares? Am I all worried about it? I see a lot of people on Facebook groups, they're posting like, hey, group, looks like I'm getting assigned these shares. I'm panicking and I don't know what to do. Well, they probably should not have sold those cash secured puts in the first place. That's my opinion. Step two, I'm going to look and see what the analysts say, because I may have opinions like, oh, that looks like a pretty good company, but these analysts, I would assume, do a lot deeper look at it. And so I'm going to look and see what they have to say about it. So are they recommending holding, buying, getting rid of it? Are they downgrading it? Are they collapsing the price targets? Are there red flags? And then step three, once I get past that part, and just because it's a company that I might think I want to sell options on, is there really enough interest from other people selling options that there's enough volume to make that workable? I think I just said that right. So we'll look at how the open interest is, the volume, the bid and ask prices. I kind of always forget to talk about that. And then we look at mostly the monthly expirations, because that's where most of the action is located. So let's get back to the website. So you see the 6-month chart here for Big Bear Holdings. And one of the reasons why I'm interested in this stock is because it's selling below $10. It's like hovering around $6. And we've been trading options in my granddaughter's account, which has got a balance about $4,000. So this may be a good candidate to trade in her account whenever we may have $600-700 there that we can maybe do a cash card put on if the timing is right. Really, there's enough other companies that I can do options on that I probably can stay away from these other ones that are a little bit more risky. We'll see. And if I look at the 1-year chart here, you can see that it's had some ups and downs. So the low here is right in here is like, it's like $2.40. And then back over here, it was as high as almost 10. But if you go back since like July, August, it kind of spiked up to around $7 and been kind of going up and down, went as high as 8.80. And for the past 3 months since November, it's been going up and down, pretty much trending down just a little bit if you look at the 50-day moving average. So the chart doesn't scare me a whole lot. It's kind of a newer company. And Big Bear, if you don't know, I'm looking at my notes over here. It's a company that provides decision intelligence and advanced analytics to government and commercial customers, including defense, national security, supply chain, and other sectors. So it's an AI company. A lot of people think just because it's AI means it's great. Well, we don't know that. One of the positives is that typically with a government contract, once you get the government contract, you usually keep that for a long time. So if you look at Palantir, how much that's grown, and a lot of that's due to government contracts. But there's a couple of downfalls here that I got. It's not yet profitable, but we'll look at that in a second. And because it does rely on government contracts, it could be too reliant on just government contracts. So that's some downfalls. So let's go to the analysis tab here. I try to keep these videos around 10 to 12 minutes, so I don't want to get talking too much about them. So this is kind of the iffy part here. So if you look at the earnings per share, it's been missing its earnings estimates by a little bit here. So the estimate here was 5 cents, and it was actually minus 43, and it was in the minus here for several quarters in a row. Let's click on the annual earnings here. So some good news is that the revenue has been growing a little bit each year from 2021, 2022, 2024, but the earnings has been improving, but in 2024 it doesn't look all that great. So look at the quarterly earnings here. You see that revenue is kind of going down a little bit, but this last quarter here, third quarter, it actually had earnings that was in the positive. So maybe this is on to something. Maybe this is the beginning of something special. So let's see what the analysts have to say. So we'll click on that tab there, and you will see that there's not a whole lot of analysts giving their opinion about this. There's only two, and one's a buy, one's a hold. Don't know what to think about that. So the price targets here is at 667. So it's currently at 593, but really there's not enough analysts giving their opinion to make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside that this is a good price to hold this at. And if I look at the upgrades and downgrades here, it's mostly just sticking to a buy from a buy. So it's not telling me a whole lot. Okay, let's check the option chain over here. So I already brought this up in Fidelity. Let's click on puts. And does it have weekly options? It does. So that's kind of surprising. If I scroll around a little bit, so January 23rd is actually a weekly option. The monthly option for January was January 16th, which was a week ago. And if I look here, there's quite a bit of action here. But if you look at the premium here, it's not enough to get too excited about, really. But that's tomorrow, so let's get rid of this. Let's see if January 30th has something a little more exciting. So a cash secured put for January 30th, which is like 8 days away, right here, 8 days, would be like 11 cents on a $6 stock. So let's look at the monthly option here. There should be a little more action. Well, there's not, but there will be. So let's look at the same thing here. If you did a cash secured put, and let's just say you went with $5 here, the delta is 20, the premium is 17 cents. So if you look at the bid and ask, there's only a couple cents in between there. So that's bound to be kind of a tight squeeze there because it's only at a $6 stock. It can't be too much of a difference. Well, it could. So let's look at one more thing here. Let's pretend we're interested in, let's do the 550, and let's do this one here. Let's punch this into a calculator and see what type of return we would get for 30 days. Okay, popped open this option calculator that I have here. And if we did the 550 strike price, which was 0.32 delta, so that's going out to February 20th, 29 days away. So 550, one contract, premium 33 cents, 29 days away. You'd have $550 in collateral, and your premium would be 33. Your return would be 6% on your money. So I'd earn 6% on this $550. Now, if we could do this every month, that would be a 75% return. So when you look at it that way, it's not, that bad of a deal. If we did, let's say, 4 contracts, the reason why I'm saying 4 is because if I did Tesla at about $1,800 or $2,000, it would be about the same amount of collateral. If we put 4 in here compared to like a Tesla contract, we would have 2,200 in collateral, still 6%, but we'd have $132 in premium. I'm looking at this for my granddaughter's account, and the idea is, could I get 50%, earn 50% on her account in 1 year by taking some a little bit riskier chances with some option trading here on some companies like BBAI. And a spoiler alert, if I click on this Adrian's options here, so these are some options that we've already traded. So we bought 100 shares of Tesla, and we have a cover call on that right now. But what I want to look at here is that we did own some BBAI, and we did a cover call. We had a $6 strike price. We ended up having 2 contracts. We didn't have too much premium, and we closed it a little bit early, and we made $30. And if you look over here, that would have been a 65% annual return. But right now we are doing some cover calls and cash secured puts on Tesla, which I think we're doing better on. Once in a while, we may have like $500 or $600 sitting in cash that we maybe could do a cash secured put on BBAI. So my final recommendation here, a lot of times it's pretty easy to decide exactly what I'm going to do. So if I go back to what I was checking, the revenue, there is revenue, improving earnings. Well, I got kind of like a caution sign there. Established company. Well, I don't know if it's considered established or not. Would I be okay owning the shares? Well, if these shares were 10, 20 bucks a piece, and I ended up with thousands of dollars of shares, I may not be okay with that. But would I be okay with owning like $550 or $600 worth of shares of this company? Yeah, it may be worth the risk. It's not a lot of money. So I'm not putting a green check mark there, but I am putting a caution sign. And as you can see, we already did a couple of cash secured puts on this, so I'm not totally ignoring it. And then the analysts, there's not really enough information. I wouldn't say 2 analysts saying buy or hold is enough to give this an overwhelming check mark or even a caution mark. But were there downgrades? No, it's kind of like nothing. That could have been a caution sign. Collapsing targets. Well, that last quarter wasn't too bad. Are there red flags? Well, I haven't researched the company enough to find out if there's enough red flags. So there are some red flags as far as being kind of very dependent on government contracts. And this is a high overview. So if people comment saying, well, you need to look deeper. Yeah, I do need to look deeper. But based on high level, I'm giving it a caution sign here. So as far as the options are concerned, there's a lot of activity. So there's no problem there with being able to getting out of trade. So that part is fine. It's just all this other stuff that would be a concern. So none of this is recommendations. This is just me basically thinking out loud and some of the things that go through my brain, just some of the things that go through my brain, not everything. I'd be a whole totally different YouTube channel if I put everything that went through my brain. This video went longer than normal, but this is a company that's really not cut and dried, in my opinion. So I had to talk a little bit more about it. And I want to share that I did do a couple cash secured puts on our granddaughter's account. So this type of thing you like, go ahead and subscribe and like the video and all that good stuff. And go ahead and search for these other videos I got with some other companies that I'm looking at here. And if you've got any recommendations, drop them down in the comments so I can take a look at them and maybe do a little high level review like this one. So we'll see you in the next video.